What's up, everybody? I'm Brian Watts with College Station PT and Performance. I'm here at SoCo Athletics with Darren Inslee, and we're just going to go through a little bit of a mobility series for the hip, and we're going to go through 6 different exercises to work on your hip mobility. All right, so the first mobility exercise is going to be called the quadruped rock back. And so Darren's going to get down on all fours. He's going to have his knee just a little bit wider than his hips. And then you can do this with your shoes off. Pull your toes up, put that big toe down so you get some toe extension, and spread your knees out just a little bit more. Okay, so basically in your squat position, and you want to make sure you have your shoulders rounded out. Don't let your shoulders sink in. So you have all this engaged, and all you do is rock back this way, bringing your butt down towards your heels, and then you come back up. So you can just rock in and out of that. You just want to make sure and keep your shoulders engaged, keep your toe engaged there on the floor, and rock back and forth. All right, now today for the second one, we're going to have, it's called the adductor rock back. So you're just going to stick your left leg straight out to the side. Okay. And it's very similar to the quadruped rock back, and you're going to sit your butt straight back, keeping your shoulders engaged, and then back up. This one will bring more into the adductors. You'll feel a little bit of stretch in the inside of the hip. And you can switch it up. You can do it on both sides. Go ahead. So you're just sticking that foot straight out to the side and rock back. All right, now we're going to go into the true hip flexor stretch. And so you're going to come up into the half kneeling position. Okay, you all right? Yeah. And a lot of people get this one wrong, where they lean really far forward onto that hip, and you're just getting a big stretch of the anterior capsule. But the right way to do it, it's called a true hip flexor stretch, because you're actually going to stretch that hip flexor musculature, and you contract your glute, and then you tuck your hips under and pull your rib cage down. And then by doing that, you don't even have to really lean forward. You already feel that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you should feel that stretch right in the front. Now switch to the other side, just so we can kind of see from this angle. So you have that half kneeling position, contract the glute, rib cage down, tuck the butt under. All right, now we're going to go into the fourth mobility drill, and this is going to move away from the adductors and the anterior hip flexors into the posterior hip stretch. So what I'm going to have Darren do is just bring his right leg back behind him. So you start in that all four position. Bring that foot back and put your toe like that. And all he's got to do is lean straight back into it. I don't want him to get his foot way up high into hip external rotation. And he should feel that more right in the posterior side of the hip. And so kind of come out of it a little bit. A way to make this harder is you reach back, and you can reach further across with this leg. And you push back, you feel that. And then you can come back out of it. And then to make it even harder, you can go down to your elbows. And that'll give you a lot more of a stretch in that posterior hip. All right, now I've got Darren here laying on his back. We're going to go into the fifth exercise, or the mobility drill, and it's also going to be focusing on the posterior hip, but it's going to bring a lot more external rotation into it. So this is just your basic figure 4 stretch. So you can just cross one leg over. And a couple things you can do here, you can pull this leg up, and he probably feels that in the back. Another way to make this harder is take the right hand and get more of a stretch if you push into it and get a little more external rotation. And on that one, he can bring this foot all the way down to the floor. And that one, you'll feel a little bit more external rotation, more stretch on the posterior lateral side. So this is, again, focusing on the posterior side of the hip. All right, now for our 6th and final mobility drill of this series, we're going to do what's called the Spider-Man. A lot of people probably do this as a dynamic warm-up. This is a good one to also focus on, to work on, because it brings in your hip flexion and a little bit of hip external rotation, a little bit deeper in the hip. So what he's going to do is go up into a push-up position to start. And I'm going to have Darren bring his left foot outside his left hand as far as he can. And you want to kind of push this knee out a little bit and get a little external rotation. You'll feel a little bit more of a stretch deep inside that hip flexor and groin area. And then as he gets better at it, a little bit more mobile, he'll eventually be able to get his foot further. Which by doing that, you just want to keep, if you go that far, you want to make sure and keep that back leg straight. So I'm sure he feels that pretty good. And then show what it looks like on the other side. So you can kind of use your hand as a guide about how far you go and make sure you're pushing that knee out. Get a little extra rotation.